Most people light $15,000 on fire when they buy the wrong 4x4 camper van because they confuse affordable with cheap. Here's what's actually happening in 2026. The gap between smart buyers and regretful buyers isn't the vehicle they choose. It's whether they understand total cost of ownership versus sticker price. In the next 10 minutes, I'm breaking down the 5 4x4 camper vans that hit the sweet spot between capable, livable, and actually affordable over 5 years of ownership. Not just purchase price, not just pretty Instagram builds. Real-world math for people spending real money. The affordability trap. Before we get into specific vans, you need to understand why most affordable 4x4 camper lists are setting you up to fail. A $25,000 Sprinter 4x4 sounds like a steal until you're 12 months in and you've spent $4,000 on a diesel particulate filter, another $2,000 on specialized shop labor because your local mechanic won't touch it, and you're staring at a check engine light that requires a proprietary scan tool just to diagnose. The problem isn't the repair, it's when it happens, 400 miles from the nearest dealer. Meanwhile, someone with a properly set up Ford Transit AWD is still running on basic maintenance and sleeping well at night. The pattern I see over and over. Retirees and families buy based on initial price, then get crushed by parts availability, fuel costs in Europe versus the US, and whether you can actually find someone to fix the thing in rural Nevada or the Scottish Highlands. So when I say affordable, I mean this. Can you own it for 5 years without financial surprises that make you sell at a loss? That's the filter we're using today. Van number 1. Ford Transit AWD/trail style builds. Yes, it's all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. And before the purists rage comment, hear me out, because this is exactly the kind of nuance that separates smart buyers from spec sheet warriors. The Transit AWD gives you enough off-road capability for 90% of van lifers who think they need a full 4x4. We're talking fire roads, snow, mild trails, beach access. It won't rock crawl, but neither will you. But there's one reason people still regret buying this van, and I'll tell you what it is in a second. Here's why it's on this list. Parts are everywhere. Any mechanic can work on it. Real-world fuel economy is noticeably better than a Sprinter 4x4, and the aftermarket support is massive. You want a roof rack? 15 companies make them. Need suspension upgrades? Done. Want to sell it in 3 years? The resale market is proven. In the US, you're looking at $30,000 to $42,000 used for a solid AWD Transit, depending on mileage and whether it's already set up. In Europe, the Transit Trail C is the equivalent, slightly smaller, but same philosophy. The regret factor, ground clearance limitations. If you're serious about overlanding, you'll want aftermarket suspension, and that adds $3,000 to $5,000 to your budget. Factor that in now, not later. Who should avoid this? If you're planning to spend 6 months a year on serious off-road trails, or you need true low-range gearing for mountain passes, look elsewhere. This is for the 90%, not the 10%. Van number 2, Fiat Ducato 4x4, Europe focus. For my European viewers, the Fiat Ducato 4x4 is the working-class hero of affordable overland vans. Here's what Americans don't understand about the Ducato. It's the Ram ProMaster's European cousin, but the 4x4 version never made it to the US in any real volume. In Europe, though, it's the backbone of camper conversions from Portugal to Poland. You can find these for 25,000 to 35,000 euros, and the key advantage is factory 4x4 integration, particularly the Dangel converted models. These aren't sketchy third-party hacks. Compared to a Sprinter, you're trading brand prestige for cheaper parts and simpler mechanics. Important caveat, availability depends heavily on country and year. Some EU markets have tons of these, others you'll be searching for months. The downside, it's not fast, it's not sexy, and if you're in the US, parts are a nightmare. But if you're based in Europe and you want true 4x4 without the premium of Volkswagen Crafter 4Motion, this is your move. Fuel economy is decent, the driving position is van-like and easy for families, and the aftermarket for camper interiors is enormous because half the rental campers in Europe are based on this chassis. Here's the real test. Can you find a mechanic within 100 kilometers who knows this platform? If yes, you're golden. If no, keep looking. Who should buy this? Europeans who want true 4x4, plan to travel off-grid in the Scandinavia or the Alps, and don't care about brand prestige. If you're still watching, this is where most buyers make the wrong call, because this next van looks expensive but often isn't. Van number 3, Mercedes Sprinter 4x4, 2019 to 2024 used. I know what you're thinking. You just said Sprinters are expensive to maintain. They are, but here's the controversial truth. If you buy a 2019 to 2024 used Sprinter 4x4 in the 45 to 60,000 range and you budget $2,000 a year for maintenance, it's still one of the best long-term holds. Why? Because Sprinters keep their value like nothing else in the van world. A 5-year-old Sprinter 4x4 loses maybe 20–25% of its value. A 5-year-old ProMaster? Try 40%. So yes, you'll pay more up front. Yes, maintenance is pricier, but when you go to sell, you're recouping a massive chunk of that investment. For retirees planning to downsize in 5 to 7 years, that math actually works. But here's what most people miss, and it's the reason people still panic sell these vans. If you're doing long-term travel in places with decent infrastructure, dealer networks in the US and Europe mean you're never totally stranded. The catch is you need to be financially comfortable with the maintenance reality. If a $3,000 repair would stress you out, this isn't your van. But if you view it as a depreciating asset you'll recover most of on resale, that's a different calculation. Most people don't buy the wrong van, they buy the right van for the wrong timeline. Van number 4, Toyota HiAce 4WD, import option. Here's the wild card. Imported Toyota HiAce 4WD models from Japan or Australia. These are 25+ years old now, which means they're legal to import into the US under the 25-year rule. In Europe, you can find them through specialty importers or even some European markets where they were sold new. Why does this matter? Because Toyota's reputation for bulletproof reliability is 100% earned with the HiAce. These things run forever. Parts are cheap, they're simple enough that you can fix a lot yourself. The fear factor nobody mentions is parts availability is great if you know where to look, but if you don't have that knowledge yet, you'll waste weeks hunting down basic components. The trade-off is they're smaller, they're old, and they don't have modern safety features. No collision avoidance, no backup cameras unless you add them. But for someone who wants a true 4WD van that they can maintain themselves and run into the ground without worry, this is a cult favorite. Prices range wildly, $12,000 to $25,000 depending on condition and whether it's already converted. The affordability here is long-term, almost no depreciation at this point, and maintenance costs are absurdly low compared to anything European or American. Who this is for? DIY-minded buyers, those who prioritize mechanical simplicity over modern comforts, and anyone who wants to join the global HiAce cult. Van number 5, Volkswagen Crafter 4Motion. This is the sleeper pick. The Volkswagen Crafter is Volkswagen's answer to the Sprinter 4x4, and in Europe especially, it's underrated. Pricing sits between the Sprinter and the Ducato, 35 to 50,000 euros used, depending on spec. What makes it affordable in the long run? Shared parts with the MAN TGE, which is the commercial twin, so sourcing is easier than you think. Volkswagen's dealer network is massive in Europe, and the 4Motion system is genuinely competent. It's not just marketing. Real talk, this is for buyers who like doing research, who don't need hand-holding from a huge community, and who are okay being slightly outside the mainstream. Here's what nobody talks about. Most people don't buy the wrong van, they buy the right van for the wrong timeline. If you're a retiree planning to sell in 5 years, the Sprinter's resale value might save you $15,000 even though you spent more up front. If you're a full-timer who'll drive this into the ground over a decade, the Transit's low maintenance and parts availability might save you $20,000 in repair costs. If you're in Europe and prioritize off-grid capability over brand name, the Ducato's factory 4x4 and cheaper diesel might be your lowest total cost of ownership. The mistake is thinking there's one universal best. The best van is the one that costs you the least when you factor in how you'll actually use it and when you'll actually sell it. So here's my opinionated take. If you're in the US and you're not planning serious off-road, the Transit AWD is the smart money move. If you're in Europe and you want true 4x4 without the premium, the Ducato 4x4 is underrated and underpriced right now. And if you're willing to deal with higher maintenance in exchange for the best resale value, a used Sprinter 4x4 is still the king. But whatever you do, stop shopping by Instagram aesthetics and start shopping by spreadsheet. The van that looks coolest in photos is not the van that'll feel affordable in year 3 when you're paying the bills. Drop a comment. If you had $40,000 cash today, Transit AWD or used Sprinter 4x4? No, it depends. Pick one and defend it.